Good evening and welcome to tonight's show from DJNTV, Disc Jockey News TV. Tonight's show is brought to you by Electra Voice, DJ Event Planner, DJ Trivia, Odyssey Innovative Designs and Cases, NLX Professional, Promo Only, and the DJNTV Insiders.
DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
Good evening and welcome. Let's see, how bad is my camera? Camera's horrible. It is so far off. It's like on yesterday. Okay, I'll fix it in just a moment, gang. Hey, we are live here on DJNTV on a Monday night, and tonight we are going to do a flashback for all of you who are wondering what it was like back in the old days when Chuck and I were kids. Chuck Lehnhard's with me tonight. Good evening, Chuck.
Good evening, John. Yeah, back in the old days, back when we were, stone tablets on a spinning wheel like the Flintstones. That may even be a reference that most don't get. I don't know.
They probably won't. So tonight, gang, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about Chuck. Chuck has been in the industry since 1979. Was you did your first show? Is that what you said?
You were close. 1969.
Oh, 69. Excuse me. Yes, 69. Why am I thinking? Yeah, 69. Yes. So Chuck's been in the industry for a couple of years, and tonight what we're going to do is kind of share some of the lessons he's learned over the years. For those of you who are maybe getting started in the DJ industry, maybe you've been in it a while, and there's going to be something that we can share from the experience of being in it for a couple of decades.
Yeah. It's been a wild ride, and obviously so many changes in our time frame. And when I started, obviously my first dance was a Boy Scout Girl Scout dance. And but I mean, who knew that? I mean, that you'd be able to make a living at this at some point in time. Even when I was doing this stuff part time during high school, or even right out of high school before I went full time. I went full time in '85. Okay. But before that, I mean, who would have ever thought that like I say, this far along, you could be a full time, you could make a living at it, because this really is all I do, except for I do marshal a couple of days a week at a golf course to get free golf, but. Other than that, this is it. This
has been your life for as long as I've known you, and I think you were one of the first ones I met back on the ICQ mobile beat chat board time back in the late '90s, mid to late '90s.
Well, there was a group of us before even all that came around that used to get on a AOL, and we had an AOL chat room, and that preceded. I mean. To the best of my memory, the AOL chat room that we used to do, I think it was on Sunday nights. That was before, Ryan's page and Sid's page and, all those guys, the AOL chat room. That was kind of the beginning of the Bang. Big Bang Theory.
That was a long time ago. So Chuck, let's kind of jump into one of the first lessons or tips, what have you, that we're going to share tonight.
Well, I've got 5 things that have kind of in my head that I've learned over the years, and I tried not to find things that were kind of C-spot run DJ 101 stuff.
Sure.
So I'm going to start number 5, and if we get down to number 1, that would be great. And number 5 is my the lesson I learned the earliest, the most recent. And some of you know this, but I recently fell off a ladder and broke my arm, broke my elbow, actually, my arm. And I joke about that because For years, setting up, loading in, tearing down, you're kind of whipping around, you're doing things, and maybe not the safest way, but you do it because you're in a hurry, and like you never have a problem. That's what I don't have a problem until you have that problem. I fell off the ladder, and so safety from this point on. And so I encourage people who are out there setting up and doing that kind of stuff is just to, take the time, especially at the end of the night. Your wife's probably girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, is probably already in bed. You're not trying to rush home to get to bed. Don't worry about trying to get to the club. Take your time. Be safe. Don't rush it. Basically, that's the biggest lesson. The most current lesson I'd like to share is take your time. But that again might be, C Spot Run DJ 101. But
I don't know if it really is because I think there is that part of us when we were younger that we feel semi-invincible. And today, as I'm working on the warehouse side of our shed, I'm up on a ladder and I'm thinking to myself that, I needed to get that box, but it was off to the side beyond the safe. And it's like, at one time I would have reached over and I would have started to pull the box my way and done some things. But I'm thinking to myself, Chuck didn't bounce when he. So yes, I was thinking of you and I used you in that little moment. It's like, I'm going to go down the ladder, slide the ladder over, and do it as safely as possible. But I think that's one of those lessons that if you learn it early to take those precautions, whether it's making sure that your center of gravity is over with your ladder if you're using a ladder, or making sure that your cords are not sitting in water as they run to the tent, what have you. I mean, these little things that can be in some cases life and death.
Yeah, and just having your setup and your clean setup. When I was doing schools and I had bigger systems and stuff, I used to have a carpet that's or not a carpet, excuse me, a drape that went between my two towers to kind of block everything off. And early on, I would put the stuff on the other side, right hiding by the curtain there, because people, that way people couldn't see it. It looked clean. But I stepped over one time and I tripped on some stuff that was right behind it. And that was a kind of an awakening moment there. It's just like, oh, look, move that stuff. Don't just, it's good. It's great to hide. It's great to clean setups. I mean, I'm a cable Nazi, but, safety, and that's really important. And you're right. When we're younger, we don't think of that stuff. We think, oh, whatever, I can do that. And, now you can't, so it's scary.
You make a great point with that, with the setup and such. I find in the last probably 5 years that as I'm walking behind the systems, it used to be that I didn't think too much of having a little bit of light back there. It's like, yeah, I could see well enough, but as we age, the eyes don't give us that low light capability anymore. And I find now that my son, he goes and sets up, and then if I go visit his show, it's like, I think it's pitch dark back there and I can't see what's going on. He's like, oh no, I can see where's the wire over there that's to the wall and it's taped down, and I can't see these things. So just that, making it a safe workplace. In my case, I have to have a little bit of I've gone to putting up lights back behind us at most of our events now, not because it looks cool, which it does, but just for the safety's sake, and using that little bit of common sense because it wouldn't look cool for the DJ to take a header behind the system.
One of the things too that whenever I'm setting up, I'm always thinking I'm going to take a picture of this and I'm going to post it, on my DJ boards or on the EV boards or wherever. And what are other DJs going to see? And so that's a little bit of I've always been really good about cables and hiding cables and keeping it clean all the way back to the very beginning. But if you look at any of the pictures I post, rarely do you see, cables and stuff. And what I hate is when I see somebody post a picture and I'll say, dude, you need something to work. Oh, well, I took the picture before I did all the cables. Why did you take the picture before you're done setting up to post it on the internet? If you're going to take a picture of your system, wait till it's set up, then post it, So, but anyway, that's just a Chuck pet peeve. I have a little, cable management matters sticker that I put on people's things. So,
oh, the wire. Would you used to call yourself a wire Nazi? How did you say that? Cable Nazi?
Yeah, cable Nazi. Nazi. It's probably not the most PC term.
Not so much anymore. But for those of us, that remember that Seinfeld episode, it's.
Yes, exactly. So I guess I know we don't have I could talk
Oh,
with you
we've
for
got
hours.
we've got plenty of time, so we can, if we go half hour, 40 minutes, we're good.
Oh,
So,
okay.
but yeah,
Well,
let's keep going.
number 4, agents / entertainment companies. I've survived. Again, this is from Maui time on now. Before Maui, pre-Maui, it was all, I booked 90% of my own events.
Okay.
Occasionally going out with somebody else or something like that. But I booked all my own events, especially in the school era. But once I moved to Maui, what I found was that you couldn't really work in the hotels without going through one of the entertainment agencies on Maui. There was one called Envisions and one called Tahati. And I didn't really like that at first. They're like, well, okay, but I did, kind of out of necessity in order to work. And once I did that, I thought, well, this is great. I love them. I know some people have a problem with agents or entertainment companies because they want a certain percentage. Duh, they've got to make their money too. So a lot of guys will think, well, I don't want to have to pay them XYZ because I won't be able to get my, if I'm charging $2,000 for a wedding, and that means I got to pay the agent, $200, $300, and so I'm only going to make $1,500, $1,600.
Right.
It depends on how you approach the agent or the agency. I was lucky enough for the agents that I had. I've always gone like, or they've asked me, how much money do you want? So you want $1,800? You want $2,000? Great. They're going to tack on top of that.
Sure.
So it was never, I want $2,000 and then I'll give you 20%.
Chuck,
I'll give you 30%.
kind of explain for those who have never worked with an agent or have never dealt with that type of a situation, what is involved with working with an agency?
Well, I mean, my very first agent back in the day was a buddy of mine, so I'm not going to count Bob Ante, but on Maui, I was there, and I actually had my first gig 9 days after I moved to Maui. Actually, it was at a wedding that I had booked on my own while I was still in the mainland, and they were like, "Are you sure you're going to be on Maui when we have our wedding?" Because yeah. So and at that wedding, there were one of the ladies from Envisions Entertainment happened to go by, and she saw me and she met me. So here's a card. Come in and let's talk. Maybe we want to book your services.
Sure.
So I said, oh, okay. So I went in the next Monday and I went to their office, and they led me to what I call a lawyer table, really long wooden table with all these chairs and stuff like that. And they go, sit down. And so I sat down, and then all of a sudden, all these people started coming in. There's like, I don't know, 8, 9 people, and they're all sitting down, and they're all introducing themselves. And I'm like, wait. Who are all you people?
Mm-hmm.
What? Oh, well, this is, these are the 3 owners of the company. This is, Kim, and she handles this side of the island. This is Wanda, she handles this side of the island. And this is Betty. And I was like, wow. Most agencies, the one I use here now is basically a mom and pop kind of thing that handle it. And they have one lady that goes out and manages events for them.
Okay.
But meeting with the agency, you're basically going in there and you're trying to tell them, you want to book me because I can do this, and I have either a special niche or what I can bring to you that you don't already have. What is, and if they like you and if they can fit you into their, stable of entertainers, that's what they'll do. I'm a fairly personable individual, and I have a fairly outgoing personality. And one of the things that's one of my niches is I'm not afraid to be on stage and leading 800 people into the chicken dance. I can be that cat up there on the stage, and I can, introduce the CEO of the company, and I'm not afraid. I've got, my mirrored ball jacket that I can wear, and
Yep.
But a lot of guys don't have that. And on Maui, that was a biggie. On Maui, the DJs there are amazing DJs. They can mix and stuff, and they've gotten better. But when I first moved there wasn't a lot of entertainers that would do games or activities or karaoke. There was a couple, but I rubbed a couple guys the wrong way when I first moved to Maui, and I put my website up, and it said, I said, Maui's most versatile DJ. And I heard about that from a couple guys, but at the time it was like, because I was used to doing, games and activities, and the balloon stuffs and the hula hoops and even all that, and karaoke and game shows. I had the game show, the original game show 4-pod system, and and nobody else had that stuff then. Now they've all gotten a lot better. They've really stepped up the game on Maui. But back then I was able to offer the agency something that they didn't have, and it gave me a special niche, and it worked out really well. So getting involved with the agents, one of the things that I like to point out to people is that if I meet somebody wherever, and what do you do? Oh, well, I'm a mobile DJ, and I have a company, Spectrum Mobile DJ. I go, oh, that's great. Well, if I meet that same person and I go, oh, well, I have an agent that's Envisions Entertainment or whoever. You tell somebody that you have an agent, and in their mind, it automatically puts you at a higher level. It's like people that, like when I ran the Bose system for a while, right? They saw Bose. I had people come up to me and goes, man, you must be great. And I haven't even played a song. But people equate that Bose to quality.
Yes.
Right or wrong, whatever, we can hash that all day long, but they equate that to quality. The same thing is if you tell somebody I have an agent, their mindset is like, wow, you have an agent, as opposed to, you can book me on my own. So, but both avenues have worked well for me, but that's one of the main reasons why I like agencies.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, that, and I'm lazy. They do a lot of work. My wife hates it when I say that because she knows I'm not lazy, but it does allow me more free time. It used to be when the phone rang, you got to get the phone. You got to pick up the phone. You got to answer. Or now emails, because if you don't, they're just going to go on to the next person.
One. Yes.
Right. But when you're relying on the agents or the entertainment companies, I don't have to worry about that. I can be out on the golf course, and if my phone rings, I don't have to run try to answer it. I can, finish playing my 18 and get back to it then. It's not quite as critical, which gives you a little bit more of a relaxed lifestyle, which makes my life a lot happier.
For sure. So when you have an agency booking you, like in the Hawaii situation, well, first off, when did you move out and when did you move back to the mainland?
Oh man, I knew you were going to ask me that.
I was trying to think of that earlier because we've been friends for a long time, so I remember the moves back and forth.
Any chance, sweetheart, you remember the year that we moved to Maui? Well, let's see. I was on Maui when I turned 50.
Around 2007.
Around 2007, we moved to Maui, and we've been back here now about 7 years or 8 years. We've been back. We were on Maui for almost 8 years.
Okay.
And it was a wonderful experience.
So when you were at the peak out there and you're doing the most, how often was the agency able to keep you busy out on the island there?
Well, the cool thing about Maui and most destination places, especially in the resort kind of thing, is like I was doing more weddings during the week than I it used to be like, oh my God, I'm not booked on Saturday. All the DJs are worried. Oh my gosh, I'm not booked on Saturday. I was like, oh my God, I'm not booked on Saturday. But I'm booked on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday doing weddings. Because on the islands, people come and they don't care what day of the week it is. It doesn't matter, On Maui, my average size wedding was 30 people. So, I am terrible with keeping track of stuff like that. But I bet you I averaged 6 or 7 events a month.
Nice.
On Maui.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm sure there were months where I did more, and then some months where I did less. But there's not really a downtime for events on Maui. Not like here, where I can pretty much guarantee November and January are normally slow months here.
Right.
It's just the way it is. Or the guys on the East Coast, I'm sure during snow time it's even longer. So
everything shuts down. So with the agency, and you'd be working with those with a client, how much involvement did you have in the whole process, from basically the time of them booking through the agent to the end of the performance? What kind of things were you involved with?
You want current time or Maui time?
Either one. Either one. If it's different,
Okay.
I guess we could differentiate between the two. But just to give an idea for those who've never worked with an agent of how much the agent does and how much you have to do.
On Maui time, I had very little contact with the client, the wedding person, or corporate at all. I can't tell you the number of times I would show up to DJ a wedding and I would be in there loading in, and the event planner or the would go up and go, here's your music list, here's your timeline. Day of.
Mm-hmm.
You know, God help me if I didn't have their song, which did happen a couple of times. Now here, I usually have like a phone call. If the person calling the agent's looking for a DJ, the agent will go like, well, here's a couple guys that work well. Let me give you a call, or you talk to them, and from there. So I'll have like an initial, hi, how you doing call.
Nice.
I'm Chuck, and this is my style, and yada, 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 yada. And then from that point, the agent takes care of everything. They work the timeline out. They print it all out. They go on the online for the music request system. You know, they spit it all out to me. And 90% of the time, I won't talk to the bride and groom again until the day of, which took me a good while to get used to, because I was always used to that personal touch, you know, and getting to know, and my clients, they're my friends now, because I've helped them and I've met them, and we've been at the house, we've met 3 or 4 times, and we've, you know, planned it all out, and yada, yada, yada. And it took me a while to get used to that. But the very first wedding, one of the first weddings I did on Maui that was booked by an agent, and it was one of those, here's your list, day of, and I rocked the party.
Mm-hmm.
And they were great, and they were very happy. And, you know, of course, they're on Maui, so it was, you know, how can you not be happy? But, you know, I learned that I don't need to have 50 hours of planning into the event to make it work.
Sure. That
I can go in cold and throw a party, and everybody have a great time, and they celebrate, and at the end of the day, they're married. And that opened up my idea to, you know, the positivity of agencies and entertainment agencies. So, I guess some clients maybe a little bit more, but generally speaking, even now with the agents that I have now, I mean, if I talk to them twice before the wedding day, it's unusual.
Interesting.
It really is. And as I kind of mentioned earlier, I don't Skype with anybody. I mean, I don't have, you know, FaceTimes, and, you know, it's just kind of an initial thing. And then a lot of times there'll be maybe a 2-week ahead of time call, but sometimes not. So, you know, again, more golf time for me.
Yeah, exactly. So number 2 is looking at the idea of agents and such with your business. So good idea. I've never done that myself. That might be something to dig into, because I know there's a couple of agents who have really been active in our area. And that could explain a couple of the venues, different direction they've gone.
Well, and a lot of the agents, you know, they have their clientele, and they have, you know, their venues that they work at, and you know, so they've got a built-in, you know, network already themselves. Yeah. So it's just finding the right one is always a hard thing, and which is obviously completely different than subcontracting with another DJ company.
Yeah,
that's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
But which I do that also. But the agent thing is kind of my preferred way to go if I can.
Excellent. All right, let's keep going. What's number 3?
So number 3, I kind of want to touch base on is what, the note I have here for myself, which is right down here low that I'm keeping my eyes on, is look outside the business when you're thinking about your promo. I see guys post all the time, hey, look at my website. What do you guys think? Or how do I do this at a bridal fair? Or what do we do? You know, and it's great because people give you ideas, but they're giving you ideas from a DJ standpoint, you know, entertainer standpoint, not Betty and Bob getting married standpoint. A lot of people, if you're a DJ on Facebook, if your spouse is on Facebook and not involved in business like mine, you know, you can have her group of friends, because my favorite example of this is the Wedding Wire Awards.
Okay.
Now, when all of a sudden when the Wedding Wire Awards come out, guys are posting about it, and you know, I mean, I don't really have to get into the whole attitude towards DJs towards Wedding Wire Awards, but whenever I get one and I posted about it, the people not in the business, your friends, your family, or whatever that are not in the DJ business, they're like, my God, congratulations, that thing is so amazing, it's great, you know, because they perceive that as it's an award, you earned it. DJs themselves have a different attitude towards it, but the outside world, it's a really good thing. You know, it's like driving into that, getting to the car store, new tires, and you go into the shop and you see all those little plaques on the walls, like this guy has been, 50,000 mile, da da da, and you're like, oh, cool, that guy's got some awards. He must be good. You could have freaking made him up on his own. We don't know. It could be the same thing as the wedding wire for car dealers or tire shops. But to us, looking at that, that's a big thing. So my number 3 is when you're doing promo or your website, whatever, and you want to get input. It's great to get input from other DJs because we do have experience on doing things like that. But try to look outside the DJ world. Like, go to somebody who got married, or your friends or whatever, that maybe if you have another job or whatever, you're golf, say, hey, as a potential person, what would you think about this website? And see what they think. It's two different mindsets.
Yeah, I think that's something as a wedding DJ we kind of sometimes don't think about, because it's easier to ask our DJ friends because they're also entertainers, and we and okay, there's this little part of us that we want to show our friends that we can create something really cool, or we can buy something really cool, and we want our friends to say, "Ooh, look at that! You got a nice website." And we're not designing our website to impress our friends; we're designing it to drive business. Right,
I know, and sometimes you're like some of the colors and stuff that we think are cool. A bride, it's going to turn off a bride and groom. You know? It's like the old guys posting pictures of their gear. Or their setups, that's great. I love seeing those. I love looking at them and saying, hide your cables.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, you're just looking for the cables. That's all. I mean, it's like,
I'm looking for the cables. But and this has been said again, this may be a little bit of a DJ 101, but brides and grooms, they're looking at your setup, and unless they went to a wedding last weekend and they saw some other DJ setup, they're not going to know whatever, unless you have bows. They see bows, they'll think they're badass, but but anyway, I don't run bows. I'm not getting any money from them. I shouldn't be dropping.
I was going to say, that was we did those for quite a while, but that is come and gone, unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it.
So that's basically number 3. That's basically that kind of how I feel about the promo and stuff. So,
good tip, good idea.
Number 2, I just wrote down, be unique. And there's a lot of great info out on the boards. I mean, I mentioned Randy Bartlett earlier. His stuff is great, and Peter's and Mark's and all these guys. There's a lot of great information on how to do things and the way to do things and all that kind of stuff. And if you post on the boards, which is what shoes should I wear? And wear black and I mean, and it gets to the point to where it's like, if everybody took everybody's advice, we would all look exactly the same. We'd all run the same speakers. We'd all have the same setup. We'd all wear the exact same clothes. We'd all introduce the bride and groom the same way. We would all, and that to me would just be, it would be a boring world. And I'm far from boring.
Yes.
And B, there'd be no way for clients to be able to tell us apart. The only advantage to that would be maybe a standardized pricing structure where, if you're all exactly the same, you could all charge $3,000 and that'd be fine, because that's all there was. But that's just not the way it is. So I'm kind of known for wearing red shoes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a big thing. But given the chance, now I kind of jockey between red and purple shoes. I've started wearing little collar clips on my tuck shirts, or my dress shirts that I wear, little things. And that's actually been, there was a TV show called Preacher, and he wore the little clips that used to be like country guys would wear them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, I just like the look. And a couple of years ago, I started wearing them. And I get so many, I was gonna say compliments, but I do comments on them. And it's one of those things that kind of sets you apart.
Right. Yeah. It's become your look.
Yeah. And it is. I have different ways. If I have a Chuck the DJ show or an agent show or another DJ company name show, my attire, unfortunately, has to match the person that has hired me. Chuck the DJ is going to go out there in red shoes and maybe a weird looking vest or something like that, because that's kind of my style a little bit more. Mm-hmm. Chuck the agent is going to go out there probably with my purple shoes, which are a little darker, but black. They want you all in black.
Okay.
Kind of, how are they, who's paying the bills? Let's look that way. But one of my favorite examples about this is a while back on one of the boards. Somebody made a post about tattoo. Like,
Okay.
What do you guys say? I'm thinking about getting a tattoo. What do you guys think? And oh my gosh, it blew up, and oh how unprofessional. And I would so, and I always get this cat's name wrong, but Jason Jeni.
Yeah, Jenna. Yep. You got her.
Yeah.
Right on.
Okay, let's talk tattoos. All right. All right. I mean, if anybody knows Jason or has seen pictures of Jason, the tattoo king. Okay. And look at this cat. He does amazing stuff. And, of course, it's his ability, his mixing, his song selection, yada, yada, yada. But I mean, that is a guy that, I don't know, starting out, somebody go, well, dude, you gotta hide those, wear your long sleeves or whatever, because, they're weird on tattoos. Or I had a buddy that was up in my area who used to come to conventions all the time. And his name's Rick, but he used to go by Biznick Rick. And where he would wear Converse tennis shoes at weddings, and not even the matching colors. He'd wear like red on one side and green on the other, or the thin tie with buttons and bows and I mean, but that was Fizzy's style, and he was the king for a long time, and nobody could do what Fizzy did. Nobody could dress like Fizzy did, and he was pulling in top money, because he was unique. He wasn't a cookie cutter DJ, and that's I know sometimes you have to be a cookie cutter DJ. I do, but try to be unique in something. When I years ago, before I went full time, I tried selling cars.
Okay.
And I went to a salesmanship class, and one of the things that they said was, wear multi or pretty colored socks, because people will remember your socks. So they would leave the dealership. If they came back in, they might not remember your name. They might not remember, hey, I talking to John about this used car, but there was a guy had green socks on, and oh, that's John. John wears the green socks. Yeah. I mean, again, same thing. It's just something to make you stand out. And there's so many things anymore. I mean, you look at our systems, a lot of the DJ systems all look the same, or
very much
basically,
so, yeah.
We're all buying, from the same speakers or whatever. And, it's kind of hard, but the DJ style, what you're wearing, is unique. And I think that's really important to be unique and not be afraid to push that envelope a little bit. And you're going to know, I mean, if you've pushed it too far.
Yes, sir. It is possible.
And again, you can go back to, your wife's friends or your boyfriend's friends or your whatever and say, hey, I mean, so what would you think about us wearing this at an event? What would you, get that input from outside the business, because guys in the business are going to give you the business. So, anyway, just my thought. So.
Yeah, good.
What do you wear?
Be unique, just like everybody else.
Yeah, be unique like everybody else. Yeah, that's good. I like that.
Yeah, it just so happens for the last something I tried to stay ahead of in the area, where when people were doing one thing, they were, it was for early in the day, it was basically jeans and t-shirts, or jeans and a polo. So staying ahead of that curve, and then everyone I went to a tux, and other people went to a tux, and then I went to a tailored suit, and other people then started to come off the tuxedo and go to the tailored suits. Then it became the a nice dress shirt and a loud vest, or a brighter vest, and that went for a period of time. And now this past summer, I was outside under a tent so often that I've just got basically like a company bowling shirt that fit my tent weddings more than a tuxedo did, because no one in the audience, or maybe a couple of the weddings had, but most of them didn't have tuxedos. They were wearing something. Blue jeans and a button-down shirt and a vest was two of the weddings last summer. So, well,
and that's what hand in over 7 years that I wore a tuxedo or even a suit and tie at a wedding. Mm-hmm. It was all what resort casual. It was all nice kind of dress, maybe beige slacks and an aloha shirt.
Yeah,
and kind of style. But I would buy a lot of my aloha shirts at Costco. Costco, oh, it's great. And I remember being up on stage and having my Costco shirt and a nice Tommy Bahama shirt, which is about $100 a pop, or a little bit. That's one of those things where you go on one of the DJ boards and the guys have to it works great for him, or it works great for you, or it may be okay for this over here. We're our own bosses, the choices to make what you want to do, how to run your business. And that runs all the way from bookkeeping and back. That's okay. I was at a wedding years ago, and I had my red shoes on. I was walking through the audience during dinner, and this one guy stops me and he goes, "How can you wear that?" And I was like, "What?" He goes, "You're wearing red shoes. That's the devil's color." And I'm like, "Well, if you don't like that," I go, "You hate this." And I opened up my tux jacket, and I had it red satin lined. So I opened up my tux jacket, and now I've got my red shoes and my red satin lined, jacket. I thought the poor guy was going to have a heart attack right there. But, again, and he would never hire me, obviously. Yeah. But, so make your choices, but you just have to deal with the consequences, And I've always not had a problem. I've never had a problem with that. So.
Interesting. The devil's color. All right. Let's see. What are we up to?
Well, I only have one left.
I was going to say we should be at one. Yeah, I think I was just refreshed. So what's our last one here? Okay.
Our last one is networking, but networking with DJs, not, I'm not talking networking, venues or caterers, which is obviously important too. But for me, networking with other DJs has saved my butt. And back in the day, early on in the day here, I was always trying to get guys together that I knew were DJs, and we were meeting other DJs, and there was a guy, oh man, his name completely, Rockin' Richie, and he used to put these things on called the Golden Disc Awards, and we'll get together and we'll have a big party and we'll all network and we'll get drunk and we'll be stupid and we'll have different games and stuff, and he'd get cardboard. Years later, he kind of stopped doing that. So me and my buddy Phil Trow took that, and we kind of, I don't know, maybe not the very first one, the third or fourth Golden Disc Awards that we did Evolution. That's how long ago it was. And he came in, and Randy came in and presented one of his early topics and competition, and we had a little mix-off, and it was a great networking thing. I was running Crown power amps, and
oh no,
on the power amp down, and the boards. I'm like, what do you want to know? Mm-hmm. I'll answer anything you want to know. And once there, I met other survived without the bud. I met in Canada somewhere. Rest, kind of a rocky kind. I wouldn't have known that. What do you got? Event where maybe all of a sudden the night before, hey, can I borrow 10 up like this? I really think that, but just a blast.
Yeah, conventions and meeting great people.
World, I took him about a year and a half to get back to me. You make a lot of money. You charge a lot. What are you doing? I wanted to pick this round of golf that we played. I think he shot like 2 over par, something like that. And and to this day, I talked to Alan yesterday. We still talk. And so those networking things. He the last 2 years. It really you really are. Because there's so much to be said for it. Hey, let's have a pizza and poker night,
Yeah.
And just build that up and talk about, and it's a good way to learn about venues, the ins and outs. I met these people that just suck. They were just terrible, and just locally you're just trading that stuff, and so it's good info, and it'll just help you build your crap. I've heard about that place.
Yeah,
no, I'm sorry, I don't work there, or if I do, I charge extra, or who do know it benefits everybody, and then you share your stuff.
Yeah,
help you share.
Yeah, you can. Excellent. Chuck, we're going to wrap things up here. Our time has been solid here, but I don't know what's going on. So, but for
so many people that are watching me on YouTube.
Yeah, we've got a lot of folks who are actually watching and such. And if you guys are hearing us, it's going to be recorded. So we'll and I mentioned this in the chat room that we're recording it. And if I've got to upload the whole thing, which I think I'm going to have to do, but we'll make sure it gets up there so they can check it out.
Cool.
So,
cool.
Chuck, I want to thank you for being on tonight. It was a great time.
Smooth, and I appreciate it. And I've been following it, and now that we all have a lot of extra time on our hands right now.
Yep.
People should be checking into DJNTV and all the stuff you've got going on.
Yeah, sounds great. Thank you very much, Chuck. Gang, we'll be back here in about 10 minutes with our second show, but this is going to be over on the PBN TV photo booth side. We're going to be talking to Dave Cole, and we're going to talk a little bit about his journey into the photo world. We'll be